Hi everybody, it's Diane here. So we need a prologue to this or a preface. I did this in my altered book. It's an old paper doll of Rudolph Valentino and I put the clothes in here. Okay. It's from a set I bought, a downloadable thing years ago called Hollywood Dollies. Well, when I printed Rudolph, I was stupid and printed the whole set instead of just his, page. Okay, well, let's do something with those then. So I made this, and then when I made this, for the first time, you know, since I've had that set, I realized there was no number six. It's one, two, three, four, five, seven. That's bizarre. Okay, well, so I hunted around the internet, could not find six, could not find six. I did a little more hunting, I came up with eight. So we did this a while ago. Okay, well, just because some of us like to do research and that type of thing, I tried again. It's got to be somewhere, in the world. The set is from 1925. Now, granted, that's almost 100 years old. So, but anyway, I found it. Da 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 da. Dang, that's a little anticlimactic. Who is that guy? I don't know. Yeah, I was hoping for some big story or some. Actually, in one of the searches I did in trying to find number six, I was thinking of famous people that were not in this set. I did like Gloria Swanson, Douglas Fairbanks, XYZ. Didn't come up with anything. That's because I didn't search Douglas McLean or McClan. I'm not sure how you say it. McLean. There, can you see? It's like Mac Lean. Anyway, I never heard of him. Apparently, he was big in his day. Um, it turns out it's kind of an involved story you non-silent movie fans aren't going to care about. There's a company called Undercrank Productions that put out silent film compilations of lesser known, I guess, today silent stars. And about 4 years ago, they put one out about him with two of his films on there. So somebody knows him. I did look him up on Wikipedia. He seems like a pretty normal guy. No scandals, no nothing with that. He's American. Most of his films are not available other than that. I think it was a DVD I was just mentioning because I thought, well, I should know what I'm talking about on, when I make my video, right? I'll watch a couple of his movies. I couldn't find any to watch, so sorry. He was known as the man with the $1 million smile. You can't really see it there. Of course, I chose a picture where he's not smiling. Okay. And, okay, I found this on Pinterest, by the way. To make this even more bizarre, there is a website called Original Paper Doll Artists Guild. Okay, you got that? Which is a modern thing. It was started in the 80s. They had an article about the history of paper dolls. They mentioned this series in that article. Now I assume this person knows what it was a she is talking about. There are 66 of these, according to this article, and I can only find eight. I don't understand that. So, like I said, I assume she knows what she's talking about, but 66. And, well, and the weird part of it is, that's all that ever comes up are those six that I had the collage about. Those are the only ones when, like, I bought that set. They're occasionally for sale on Etsy or eBay, something like that. I have never seen, I've never seen this one at all. I never saw the Reginald Denny one at all either. So I don't understand how there can be a series of 66 and you never see them. I mean, okay, the average person is never going to see them, but when you do research, kind of extensive research, and you can't ever find them, I don't get it. So, so we have, what is that, like 58 more to find. And if I happen to come across something, that would be wonderful, but I don't know that I'll do any more research. I mean, I exhausted all of my sources. You know, I don't know. I suppose maybe you could contact some kind of paper doll group. Maybe they would have info. I don't know. But yeah, I thought this was actually kind of weird. So Douglas MacLean. Okay, so what are you going to do with him? I don't know. Since, like I said, I don't know much about him. There wasn't any, you know, in reading up about him, nothing, you know, he had hobbies or something I can incorporate. I don't know what these movies are about other than he played a bellboy in one of them. So we're kind of just winging it. The only thing I thought of, you know, since it was such a mystery and all that, it kind of reminded me of Your Mystery Date. Anybody remember that? A mystery date game from when I was a kid. I never had it. I had a friend that had it though. That was the commercial. Anyway, it had a door in it, and it had different pictures of men in there. Well, you know, young men. And, you know, who was your mystery date? The door open. So I kind of thought, would that be silly to have a door? And it just so happened, I'll have to trim this a little, but it's about the right size. Scrapbook paper, if you didn't get that. The other thing I will say, these doors are a little foreboding, some of them. That one's not too bad though. It matches that. It looks more like a rug. All right, well, let's just take this one and see if that would do anything. And other than that, I don't know. That article I mentioned, it said, you know, 66 stars, or however they phrased it, including Rin Tin Tin. So it's like, okay, I don't know. The only thing I will say, that article, it was not worded very clearly. They were talking about a set of paper dolls that was put up by Woman's Home Companion magazine way back in the 20s. And then it said, and that something about, and they published Hollywood Dollies or something. And it's like, well, that magazine did not publish this to my knowledge. So I'm not sure. It was kind of confusing. So maybe there's an off chance they were wrong or something. I don't know. And I apologize to the author. I don't mean to insinuate anything, but it was a little confusing. Okay, well, maybe we want him on top. Okay, I'm done because I don't know. These papers are a little short for the altered book. I'm going to have to do something on the borders. Or one border, one way or the other, if I don't center it. We could put a 6 on there. That might be kind of fun, you know, on the door. Here, I'm not going to do this, but as a reminder, and just to see, I could get a scrapbook paper number or a sticker. My number things are not here. Yeah, I don't have mounds and mounds of scrapbook paper, but I have enough that I have a separate box of numbers and letters, and that's not right here. Oh, admit it, Diane, you have mounds. Not really. Maybe one mound. Okay. Do we want it to open like this? Because that is the way the door opens. I don't know. Well, MacLean, that sounds like a Scottish name, doesn't it? This is right here. But that was funny. I finally saw them. Like, wow, that's six. That's number six. Who is he? That's ironic too, because all the other ones that I have, I know who they are, and I've seen, I think, at least one of all those actors' movies. I'd say Norma Talmadge. I don't think I've seen one of hers. I've seen a couple clips. If anybody cares, I'm sure nobody cares. But just point being, sorry, dog, I never heard of you. Which actually, that's kind of weird too, because that DVD set I mentioned that came out, I may have been aware of that 4 years ago, because if you want a long-winded thing, one of the owners of that Undercrank company is Ben Modell. He's a silent film accompanist. You know, goes around to different theaters and plays for silent movies. I guess it's his main job. I don't know. I don't know his whole life. But anyway, during the pandemic, he and a friend of his, who's a film historian, were showing silent movies on YouTube with commentary talking about, you know, the stars and whatnot. And they'd mention different books or whatever. And he mentioned that DVD, which I saw in researching him right now. I probably saw that episode, but it just didn't click. I didn't remember it. Wow, Diane, that's so interesting. Well, okay, the only other thing that crossed my mind, since it's, you know, he was such a mystery man, do we want question marks? Um, Magnifying glass. I have a Clue uh, score pad. You want to wait a minute? It's like right here. Just hang on. Think about that big, interesting story I just told. Yeah, that's right here. My number letter paper isn't, but this is. Uh, it's in a bin. Here, is this it? Yeah, here. Well, I don't know. I mean, what if we just had detective notes? Because, you know, this doesn't have anything to do with a crime or anything, other than it took me so long to find it. Yeah, all the time you wasted on this, Diane, was kind of a crime. All right, well, anything else in this bin we could use? Probably not. This is like oddball stuff. Here's the game. Notes, rules. That wouldn't really work. Bingo number, papers. No. Oh, there's a 6. Kind of boring. We'll find a better 6 than that. Old poker chips. If anybody have a big use for that, let me know. I actually tried to sell those ones and nobody would buy them. I don't know what to do with them. Money, password. Okay, I'd say nothing. Um, yeah, I should write the other. That's what I should do. Write the other suspects who I looked up. I looked up. I know I did Gloria Swanson, Douglas Fairbanks. I think I did Greta Garbo. Look up anybody else. Oh, Mary Pickford. That might be all I looked up. You know, thinking of big people at the time who wasn't in this set. Oh, Clara Bow. I think I looked up her. Okay. If I write in some creative manner, and some neat what kind of paper would you write that on? I got a bunch of scrappy stuff over here. Um, that's too bright, I think. Oh, that's a good color. Okay, should I just write my own handwriting? I suppose. It was senior, by the way, but I'm not going to write that. Okay. Something. And it's none of the above. It's Douglas MacLean. My mother would say, yeah, we went to different schools together. Okay, well, I don't know what else to put with this. It's still boring. We have our film stuff. What about something with that? Papers, I mean. What do you mean film stuff? No. That's not film paper, Diane, I noticed. Um, I think the scale is kind of big. The colors are okay. What else do you have here? Come here. This paper's being obstinate. Is that it? No. No, no, no. We have more than that. No. 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 I don't think so. Oh. Um, I don't love it. Okay, is that it? I got some cameras. I don't think that's gonna work. What's this? Oh. Well, this has some blue on it. So does this. Well, let's cut this apart. Gee, I guess I've had this for a while. I mentioned in one of my other film type collages, I haven't seen film related scrapbooking paper for a while. I think some company needs to get on that. Wouldn't it be cool to design your own scrapbooking paper? Cool. There's probably a lot more that goes into it than what I think, right? Well, this isn't cut too well. Pretend it is. It was up a little bit. And this was down here. Well, I've said this a million times. There's no rule on how much stuff has to be on a collage. And if anybody watched my flip through of that small collage book, I think I tend to put too much stuff on anyway, or at least I used to. So maybe a little restraint would be a good thing. And remember, Diane, the top and bottom, or at least the bottom is going to be short, yeah. Um, Maybe I could just paint it too, or I have that film washi tape. All right, you know what? I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna glue this stuff down. Maybe with just some spattering, a little paint schmutzing, or if it was a woman, I'd say a couple flowers or something to tie it together. Which I guess you can use flowers for guys too, but stars, I've done that before. Yeah, you've done that before. All right, think about it. Think about all this great information. Okay, hang on, I'll come back. Okay, we're glued down. I thought of tickets. They're not glued down. This is not glued down. We have our door thing. I wrote info about not being able to find number 6, etc. Okay. I forgot. I think I looked at Mabel Norman too. I added her. And I put little tick marks like, they're not suspects anymore. I colored in the white holes. They weren't holes. If they were holes, they wouldn't have been white. It's colored pencil. It's not a dead-on match. That's the best I could do, but it looks better than it did. I think it needs something, as I mentioned, spattering or something. Diane bought herself a stencil. So I have 3. So that means I have a collection now. But this one is cool. Can you tell? You can't tell. It's got, a bunch of different stuff on it, on one thing. Yeah, that's helpful, Diane. Thanks. Just trust me. All right. Well, I thought there's a grid thing here. Looks like hardware cloth, kind of. Since we have this plaid, would that be something? Do you guys have a color in mind? Because I do not. I don't think I want to go real dark. I don't want to go real light. I did buy a new purple. No more stinky, goopy purple paint. I don't really want to mix a color because I'm going to have a hard enough time getting it. I have a dauber thing that's about 30 years old. And since my paints are all kind of, I'm going to have to brush it onto the dauber. And since I've never used this before, let's try a little test thing. Not like it's not going to work, but more like Diane's not going to do it right. I don't think I've ever painted with a stencil, so you go ahead and laugh. I've obviously inked with one, although not extensively. All right, that color is pretty good. All right, if it's terrible, we'll just have to cover it up, paint over it, something. I'm not trying to make a solid looking thing. Okay. This dauber thing, I'm not overly impressed with. It's leaving little, like spongy marks. Maybe I should buy a new one of those too. Don't rush into anything, Diane. Okay. Okay. About a little bit down here. I think we need more paint, however. I suppose I've seen people do this with just like a makeup sponge or something like that too. I don't have those. I do wear makeup, but not that requires a sponge. Okay. And if I had thought of this ahead of time, I would have done this first instead of trying to mask off areas so they don't get paint on them. Okay. And I also think it would look better if it was, kind of under stuff more. Under stuff more. And I know I gotta wash paint off that. and this, and this. All right, well, actually maybe this one should be up there. It's a little more of a pink hue, which doesn't match this so well. Oh, I forgot. I was going to get my question mark rubber stamp. Um, let's think about that. Yeah, yeah. All right, you want to wait 1 second? Watch paint dry. It's right here, but I've got a couple things on top of it. Okay, I'm opening the stamp on. I'm locating the question mark. Here it is. This is the older, oh no, that is the newer pad. Oh. I thought it was, yeah, that's better. Okay. The older one, it wasn't stamping so great. Case in point. I think it's the user error. I'll fill those tops of those in. All right. Every single top is off. Okay. I think you could use a narrow black border around. Did you notice? I just took what I trimmed off this background paper and put it top and bottom. All right, I gotta wash paint off stuff, glue that few things down there. I think I'm gonna do a black border, and I'm thinking it's gonna be done, so hang on. Okay, it's done. It's nice. It's not overly anything, but I think I do tend to overly decorate often, so I'm trying to pare down a little bit. I did add another question mark on this side. There was, nothing there. It looked a little lax. So I just hand drew 2 lines, and where there was gapping, I filled it in. Technically, a nice straight crisp line with a ruler might look a little better. But I wasn't sure with this if I was going to get it right, so I just didn't bother to try. What can I say? However, you do have all these straight lines, so I also thought, would it be too much straight line business? So maybe this is better. You can do whatever you want when you do your Douglas MacLean layout. So there he is again. Mystery of number 6 is solved. Just strange. And I'd like to point out another strange fact. I said this article was saying there are 66 dolls. Well, here's the envelope that they came in. 5. Unless they changed it somewhere along the line, you can't get 5 and then up with 66. There was a bonus one once upon. So I have a feeling the mystery's never going to be solved. And I still don't understand. So out of 60, this person is right, out of 66 paper dolls, there's only 8 that float around. I don't understand that at all. And like I said, you see them for sale once in a while on eBay and Etsy, and it's always the same 400. No, that's a Marilyn quote. It's always the same 6, that I said where he was missing from originally. So I don't know. If you figure it out, let me know. Okay. Douglas MacLean, we finally found you. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a nice day.